The perennial problem of establishing whether there's an objective moral truth or not is one of the most controversial areas in philosophy. Setting deep epistemological questions aside, we can all reasonably agree that there are certain truths in the natural world that can be asserted objectively, such as water is H2O, or if you jump out of that building you will fall. These are all empirical statements about the physical nature of the universe, and we all agree that they are objective. It would be hard not to roll your eyes if someone came up to you and said that gravity's existence is relative. It's hard to interpret what that would even mean, right? Well, unfortunately, this is not the case when it comes to morality, or statements about what people ought or ought not to do. Empirically speaking alone, anthropologists throughout the world have encountered significant moral disagreements among the countless cultural and ethnic groups that populate the globe. Some people exercise female genital mutilation on their in-groups, others practice incest, and yet others are against sex before marriage. All of these respective groups follow these particular practices because they believe that they are right in some sense. But surely there must only be one truth, right? It is not by any means obvious how it is that we should judge which of all the existent moralities is the right one. Every moral system that exists is based on the culture, religion, and beliefs that the people adopting it embrace. And so, it seems that whether you believe that the death penalty is an abhorrent act or the righteous thing to inflict upon transgressors is a mere contingency on where you were born and how you were raised. One culture might hold a practice such as honor killing sacred, while another one might think it's hideous. And this disagreement seems to be predicated on the fact that they both hold mutually incompatible beliefs that they adopted arbitrarily. Even the strict moral theories that famous philosophers have developed differ significantly in what they deem right and wrong. Utilitarianism, for instance, holds pleasure to be the paramount value of human experience, and thus any moral decision that is based on the framework will take this aspect into account rather heavily. Deontology, on the other hand, is based on rules and duties, and it might compel one to carry out certain actions despite how unpleasant they are, because they are absolute, unconditional, categorical duties. But who is to say which one of these theories is right? If we were to isolate duties on the one hand and pleasure on the other, and square them up against each other, which of these values would be considered objectively more important? And by which standards could we go about doing this anyway? There is absolutely no way to determine this without being arbitrary. Whatever moral theory or system you apply, if you investigate it deeply enough, you will find that it has certain axioms or basic values that are chosen without any justification and are simply taken at faith or arbitrarily. You will eventually hit an unjustified rock bottom, and thus, since the very foundations of every moral system are arbitrary, the entirety of every moral system is also arbitrary. This is an issue which I consider very controversial and difficult to figure out. I believe that there is merit to the counterposition of moral relativism called Moral Objectivism or Moral Realism. I will also be making a video about it in order to settle the question in the future. Thank you for your attention. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.